I created Species Nutrition with one mission in mind: to provide bodybuilders and serious athletes with no-nonsense supplements that work. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution.
Welcome back to Muscle in the Morning. Yet again, I'm Tyler. It's Friday. Let's get into it. If you happen to be a fan of 212 bodybuilding, you've got a lot to be excited about right now, because lately we've seen a lot of activity coming from some of the top guys in the division, including former Classic Physique Olympia champ Breon Ansley, who seems like he's on pace to make a huge splash right out of the gate. Up to this point, there hasn't been any official word from Breon's camp about when he's planning to make his season debut. But based on all this content that he's cranking out over the last few weeks, you gotta get the sense that he'll be ready to flip that switch a whole lot sooner than later. From front to back, he's already one of the most complete athletes in the division. So the only real question mark with him now is whether or not he has the size to hold his own against the other guys at the top. If he goes out and gets a statement win whenever he makes his debut, it won't be long before we start to hear his name shoot to the top of the potential title contenders list. So I'm not one to talk for this opener, but if you've been at this for long enough, you know the difference between strong guys and what the hell am I looking at strong dudes. And James Hollingshead is one of the few guys in the sport who consistently falls into that WTF category when you see some of the stuff that he's been doing in the gym on a regular basis. Granted, he's in an extended off-season phase right now, which gives him a little more wiggle room to push the strength because he's not training in a deficit. But even with that being the case, he's still at a level that no other Olympia caliber athlete is operating on at the moment. The guy is an absolute monster in every sense of the word, and if he comes back next year kicking ass and taking names, you won't need to be a rocket scientist to figure out why. James might be on a level all by himself right now, but Wilkin is not too far off, because he's also been putting up some pretty impressive numbers in his own right lately. Being one of the few athletes who's grandfathered into the Olympia qualification under the old system, it seems like it's paying huge dividends to him right now, because he's putting together one of the best stretches of training of his entire career, and the results are speaking for themselves. At this point, he hasn't gone on the record to say that he wants to do a tune-up show to work out the kinks before November, but it feels like that's a strong possibility, especially when you take into account the level of conditioning that he'll want to have for his Olympia debut. Given that it's only mid-April, that still gives him plenty of time to hit it hard before he even has to start thinking about flipping the switch for his contest prep. Before we head out today, we've got some headline news for you courtesy of the Olympia champ, Brandon Curry, who kicked up a stir a few days ago when he said he believed Hadi's Choopan is more beatable than Ramy was during the peak of his reign. Granted, at his absolute best, Ramy was and is one of the most unique bodybuilders of the modern era. To play devil's advocate, the peak of Ramy as the face of bodybuilding was relatively short-lived, and in the end, it was Hadi who ended up taking over that mantle. So here's my question to you. Do you agree with Brandon? Assuming they're both at their best, who do you see as the more dominant champion, Ramy or Hadi? And do you think Hadi's reign as the king of bodybuilding will last longer than Ramy's? Let us know what you think in the comments down below. And that does it for Muscle in the Morning, and the weekend is nigh. You guys have fun out there, be safe, and we'll see you next week.